All right, here we go. It's another episode of The Diary of a Piece of Shit. Today, my guest is Silvia Saige, stand-up comic, adult film star, and host of the podcast Sexy Funny Raw. How are you? Welcome to Denver. Thanks for coming by.
Thank you. Denver has been quite the experience for me so far.
Already?
Yeah. The altitude fucked with me like immediately. And then I got really high. And I don't know if it's because of the altitude that I was extra high, but I have forgotten I've been in Colorado like 5 times since I've been here in 24 hours.
Wow.
Like, I'm like, where am I? Right. Denver.
Wait, so did you get some weed right when you got here?
No, I brought weed with me. It's LA to Denver. No one's going to say anything about
I know,
weed.
but is the weed, I don't smoke weed, so is the weed quality the same? I thought it would be better
I
here.
just think, I always bring my Jeters everywhere because they're my favorite and not a lot of places carry them. So I always bring my own really high potency weed. But I just think it's something about the elevation, honestly, like made me higher. And I was like, I have forgotten so much. Like I got high before I came here. And even in the drive over, the guy who's driving me over said something about being by the football stadium. And I was like, oh, what football team plays here? And he was like, the Denver Broncos. And I was like, I am a huge sports fan. Like, I know that for sure. I just 1000% forgot I was in Denver. So.
Yeah, we're going to talk about a lot today, but we're not going to talk about your stupid Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs in the heart of Bronco country.
We won't do it. I'm sorry.
It hurts too much. We're going to start how we always start. The first question, as always, who is the biggest piece of shit you know?
Biggest piece of shit I know is definitely my old porn agent, the guy I started with. Yeah.
Oh, I
Derek
bet.
Hay. Just a complete total piece.
I bet would just stole all your money or just was scum or
just scum, just treated women like they were numbers. Like he really made me feel like I worked for him. Like he was very pimpish. And now I know that agents work for you and you're allowed to say no to things that you don't want to do. And that was not how I got into the industry. It was very like, you will do this at this time. Like he used to make us come into his office and live webcam in the room next to him. So he could like know that we were working for one, and then he would take a percentage of the money that we made by coming in and doing it live.
Fuck this guy. He sounds awful. How did you find him? How do you go about that?
So I didn't. My best friend was the one who like found him, and she thought he was like the top agency because he did have some big girls and like big name people.
Talented girls.
Yes.
Maybe some big girls.
Yeah,
I'm
both.
Not judging.
So she like signed on with him, and I only waited like a week of her doing porn, and I saw how much money she was making, and I was like, that's what I'm gonna do. Like call my parents, like I'm so sorry, like here's the plan. But yeah, she kind of had it all mapped out, and I just kind of followed her lead, and then she only stuck around in porn for like a year, and then I was like,
and then she's gone.
Yeah. So
is the guy still around?
I think so. I don't think he runs an agency anymore. I think he actually did some time in prison for like screwing over several different girls. And yeah.
I mean, how shady of business is it? Or has it come a long way?
It's come a long way. Now, he was super shady, but I don't think the business as a whole is. And I say that all the time because I don't even like telling the stories of him being my agent because I don't want people to view the industry that way. Now I have my last 2 agents have been female agents, and 3 agents actually. And they have been amazing. My agent goes to bat for me all the time. If I don't want to do something, she's like, no problem. Like she, very much like, what do you want your rates to be? Like I've tripled my rates since I began. And when I started with that agent, he was like, this is what you get paid for this. And like, blah, blah, blah. And now she's like, well, how much do you want? And I'm like, oh, that's great. I forget. You're my agent,
Okay, and he was probably charging more. He's probably like one of these corporate comedy bookers.
No, I was making like no money because he wanted to keep me poor, so he had control of me.
Yeah, that
He's
is
like the government.
That's that is some pimp shit. Well, he sucks.
He sucks.
Well, this wasn't even one of my questions, but since you brought up, how was that phone call with your parents?
Oh my God. So not great, obviously. My dad took it the best. I'm a huge daddy's girl. Like we're really close. We're really good friends. And honestly, I could do no wrong in my dad's eyes. And I was 30. I had a college degree. I'd worked in medicine for nearly a decade at this point. So, and I had previous like drug addictions. Like I had a not great past with me being a professional, educated professional. So I think he saw that at least I was not addicted to drugs, you know, and I was happy and healthy and seemed to be making better decisions. So he accepted it pretty easily and was just like, you know, I will love you no matter what. My mom did not take it as well. She's very religious. And she still has a problem with it, obviously, but I flew her out to California so she could meet my shitty agent at the time. But I took her to the testing facility so she could see that we get tested every 2 weeks. And I actually took her to a set just so she could see that it's not like, because everyone has this seedy idea of what a porn set is. Like everyone thinks it's just like, you know, lines of cocaine and booze and like naked women, and like it is naked women, but there's no cocaine, no boobs, you know, like it's very corporate as sex could get. And I needed her to see that. So they both accepted it, and it is what it is now. It's almost 10 years later. And I've bought my dad cars. I took my family to the Super Bowl. Like I gave my mom a $40,000 loan when she needed it. Like now they're like, hey, it's fine. It's fine. She's going to be fine.
Proud of you.
Yeah. Proud is not the word I would use, but my dad always says, I wish you wouldn't because you're my daughter, but I will support you no matter what you do.
Well, that's that you put it to the test.
Yeah.
I always said if I had a daughter, every parent, you always hear them say that. I just want my kid to be happy. I'll support whatever they do.
Yeah.
They don't.
You know, it's funny because I just, I'm in signing a contract currently to have my vagina molded with Doc Johnson. I'm like having a sex toy made after myself. And I kind of slipped up and mentioned it to my dad. Like I wasn't planning on telling him just because, like, how do you have that conversation? But it kind of slipped out. And then he was like, what? And I was like, oh, I'm having a toy made. And he was like, what? And I was like, I'm having a toy made of my vagina. And he was like, are you really? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, ha, 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 that's hilarious. All right, well, I'll talk to you later then. And I was like, all right, Dad. Like
there goes the surprise on Christmas morning when he opens up his gift.
I think honestly, my dad finds my career funny. And I think he, in a way, wishes he would have thought of it. Like, because he thinks he's hilarious. You know, he's always like the star of the show. And he was wildly sexual. You know, him and my mom divorced when I was 2. So he was always a single man. And I watched all sorts of parties at our house and like orgies that my dad was a part of. Like I watched everything. He didn't see the orgies, just the aftermath of the people. So like we've always had like a open like relationship, and like sex is never a taboo subject. But it's just it's an interesting dynamic, and I think people get weirded out that my dad supports me through a porn career.
Hey,
but
it's a good dad.
Yeah, he just loves me.
It's a good dad. Yeah. It's more stable than a comedy career.
Yeah. That is
you're not
sure.
You're not taking anybody to the Super Bowl with comedy money.
Yeah.
You're hoping you can watch the Super Bowl if you can keep the cable on.
You're right.
So that first day, how nervous did you?
Not nervous.
You were just ready to, I mean, obviously you had sex before, but not
right. Well, it helped that my first scene was with my best friend, the girl who moved out. So she was my first scene partner, her and Seth Gambles, who is like still in porn to this day. But yeah, it was so easy because it was my friend, and people really underestimate, especially I guess because I'm very open and I've never had a problem with nudity. I worked in restaurants. I worked at Hooters and Twin Peaks, and I always like nude modeled, after high school. Like, so nudity was never a thing for me. So I'm so comfortable in a porn scene that it's like, everyone's having a good time. It's like, there's no, I don't know. It just feels very comfortable. I'm way more nervous on a comedy stage.
I was going to ask that. Which one made you more nervous? Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Which is wild. You would think it would be the opposite.
No, also just because I'm not like, sexuality doesn't scare me in the slightest. So.
Yeah. Well, that was one of the questions from the Patreons. Which one made you more nervous? I guess we'll just skip to those. But here's a question that 5 people asked when I asked if they had any questions: is how intimidated are guys to like date you, or like, because I had an experience with one time, and it was very intimidating. I tell the story, and I went to her house, and then she, at the like foot of her bed, there was like a big 12-inch like blue dildo, and it was Obama. It was Obama's head, and then the shaft. And
It's actually kind of amazing.
I make a joke about it. I go, I'm intimidated to follow just a regular black guy, more or less the most powerful man. But she was awesome and super fun. But I was nervous just because I'd watched her work, and I knew I could not even get close to measuring up. And then she was so talented, I like embarrassingly came I said it's like that Malcolm Gladwell 10,000 hours thing. Like she had it, and I first time came real fast, second time I gave myself a pep talk, and I still just embarrassingly, and I was like, but I was just imagining. You
gotta think about dead puppies, your grandma, something. You gotta go somewhere.
Everything she did, I couldn't. I pulled out every trick, and it was like. But
other than your dick, you should have pulled your dick out.
No, my dick. For first time, we didn't even make it to sex. I was like, oh God,
wow.
I'm sorry. Yeah, it was incredible blowjob. But yeah, I would just imagine. That's got to be. Are guys intimidated?
Yeah,
I think you think you'd want it, and then I think I talked like I was a big shot, and then when I got there and we were driving to driving to her house, then I was like, oh no, like I don't know, am I gonna be able to do this? Is not good. I just like panicked. I never get nervous. I've never been so nervous.
It's funny that you say that because I don't like to think I'm intimidating, but I hear that a lot from people that they would be afraid that they can't measure up to what they've seen me do in a porn. It's like, you don't understand. Most of the time in those movies, I am wildly uncomfortable. Like, I don't like a huge dick, and a lot of those positions are really uncomfortable, So it's like, people don't realize that I am getting paid to do a job, and it is actual work, and the amount of times I go home and I have to just sit in an Epsom salt bath because what's just happened to my body is just like wrecked me, Like, it's a lot.
Oh, I'm sure.
And also, like, I don't think in real sex, like, I truly don't think I'm that impressive. Like,
Well,
I just think I do normal stuff in sex. So I don't think I'm an intimidating factor, but I think men are always like, oh, I don't have a big enough dick, or I won't be able to last as long. Like, I don't want 45-minute sex. That is exhausting. Like, I want 10-minute sex, and like 3 basic positions,
That would be great.
Yeah.
10 minutes would be
and bring
amazing.
in a sex toy,
10 minutes.
Like,
that's a month for me, 10 minutes. What about, would you ever feel any pressure, like, to perform, like, the other way? Like,
what do you mean?
Like, a guy's going to be like, this is about to be the best sex. Like, do you ever feel like you'd take a night off? Because people are always going to be like, if someone was like, oh, I got to have sex with her, and then they're going to be like, oh, my God, what was it like?
Yeah. I mean, I feel a little bit of a, like, need to impress sexually, but not really. I feel like if I'm fucking you, you should just be happy that we're fucking and just be ready
fair.
For it.
That is fair.
Yeah. And I'm not like a dead fish or anything.
No, I know.
Like, I would move around, but at the end of the day, I just like getting fucked, Because especially in porn, because I'm usually the older one and I've lightened my hair now, but when I was dark brunette, I was always the aggressor, So all of my scenes, like, all of the sex pressure is on me.
But wait, what? Your hair color has to do with aggression?
Yes, of course it does. They make you mean if you're brunette, and they make you ditzy if you're blonde.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, of course.
And I should have, after everything I've watched,
they always make the dark-haired girl like the villain.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. So I'm evil in almost all of my movies.
What about, so then when it's a redhead?
She can be more like sultry, seductress. She can be whatever she wants, usually. She can swing both ways.
Damn, I've never even thought about that.
Pay attention now.
I will. You've changed porn for me.
Yeah. Do you know what else is so silly to me is obviously I have a lot of stepsons or stepdaughters, right?
Yeah, you've been busy lately.
Yeah, a lot of kids. And they always mesh you up with someone close to your hairstyle, like a brunette with a brunette. And I'm like, this doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
this isn't my biological kid, so why would we have to look alike? But that's what they go for. They put blondes with blondes and brunettes with brunettes, redheads with redheads, to play mom-daughter figures.
I guess just because I'm old, I used to like the plot more, and there's just not a lot
I love the plot.
But it's gone. Is that just the age we live in where people are just you got to see it
Yeah,
now?
It's the age we live in, honestly, because people want something quick,
I like the setup.
I love the setup,
Here's
too.
my porn complaint. I know it's not your fault. I want more plot.
Okay.
And like the girl stuck is so stupid to me.
I was stuck in a garbage disposal. Do you know how fucking scared I was? I was like, if anyone comes near this fucking switch, like, it was terrifying.
An active girl.
Well, I mean, aren't they all active? I don't know how you.
I would shut it off if I was
we
like,
had done the off position, but
that's the scariest one. Damn.
Telling me. I also had my hand balled up the entire time, so like,
you were
hoping
stuck.
no blades would like hit it, you know, if something did get turned on. But
what's the craziest thing they've ever asked you to do in porn? Like, or like writer wise, or like, is there ever a plot you're like, this is crazy. Who wrote this?
I mean, I love those. Honestly, for me, the crazier the better, because I like being like an obnoxious character. Like, I love that. I remember one time we were doing a movie and I was like this trashy mom, and I was like, can I have an accent? And they were like, what accent do you want to do? I was like, Jersey. I was like, can I give her a Jersey accent? They were like, sure, but you got to keep it the whole movie. They were like, even during sex, you got to keep up this character. And I was like, done. And I was like, I love it. So like, the crazier that is, the better. I also had a amazing religious scene where I was a nurse and fucking I don't know, 2 priests, I think it was. I don't know, maybe it was priest and altar boy. I don't know who the fuck they were. But it was hot. And I just love the taboo-ness of it. Yeah. And I was like, oh, yeah. The creepier the scene for me, the more I play into it.
Have you ever shot a stand-up one that has to do with comedy?
I have. I actually shot a comedy virtual reality. So it's me doing stand-up, and then I pick an audience member, and then I take the audience member to the green room and have sex with him.
Great.
And it's virtual reality, so it's like you're in person.
Oh, so you can... I've never done that.
I haven't... I actually have not watched them either, but I have a buddy of mine, and he watches all my VRs, and he was like, they're amazing. He's like, it feels like you're right there. And then once I get this fleshlight out, I'm like, you can actually fuck me and like be fucking me in virtual reality.
That's... So wait,
another reason for my parents to be really proud.
I say, I bet they hated that religious one. It's like your mom's least favorite video. So wait, the mold of... So it's done? Have you already gone through the process?
No, we haven't. So they sent over the contract, and then I had my lawyer review it. We redlined it, and then we're just waiting for the red line back. So, yeah. Ugh. But they don't even... It's not even a mold. What happens is it's... like a 3D image. So basically, like, I'll be like opened, you know, and then they just like 3D scan it, and they make the mold out of that. Because here I was thinking, are they gonna like drop mold into me, and it's like gonna freeze, or like how is this gonna work? But yeah, it's technology.
Yeah, I'm an idiot. I was thinking like when you go to the dentist and they do.
I did the same.
I was like, what?
When people were asking me, I was like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know how this is gonna work. Like, I don't know if I just hang upside down for a few hours. Like, I don't know. But yeah, apparently all computer.
All right. So. It'll be out before Christmas.
It should be out before Christmas. Yeah. Put it on your wish list.
You know what? It's a better gift would be graduation. High school seniors.
Yeah.
That's what I should.
Yeah.
My nerd
the
friends.
The VR with the VR set and the little fleshlight. What a great gift.
No, I'm giving the fleshlight for these. You know, a lot of people give like kids that graduated a book or something. I'm like, I'll give you something you need at college. Take this with you.
They will need that also.
Oh, all right. Let's get to these questions. I could ask a million questions about that.
Okay.
We'll do these pieces questions first.
Okay.
We'll slow it down a little. We got a little. We learned a lot there. But first question: what town is a piece of shit?
Oh, I would say the town I went to, like elementary and very little high school in, Oak Grove, Missouri.
You're not a big fan of it?
No, like they were so mean to me in that town. I moved high schools because
really?
of how awful people were to me.
Just because you were hot, or just because?
Maybe just a lot of rumors going around about me that were like completely untrue, like saying I was fucking the basketball team. Meanwhile, I was a virgin the entire time I went to school there, and like, and I was being molested by my friend's brother. So it was just a lot. Like this town just like wasn't good. Yeah.
So do you never go back?
Never. Even when I go back to visit my family, they all live like in different areas. No one lives in that town specifically anymore, so I don't go back at all.
But the high school reunion, I bet everyone's like, God, I hope she comes this year.
Well, I didn't graduate from there because I moved high schools because they were so bad to me. I moved to the town over and finished high school.
Well, fuck that town.
Yeah, fuck that town.
What is it called? Old Grove?
Oak Grove, Missouri.
Unfortunately, that's probably somewhere that would book me for comedy. But you know what? I'm not going Oak Grove. You go fuck yourself.
They do not have a comedy club. They're not big enough for that.
That's the town that mostly book me. So whatever bars there,
doing the local.
Yeah, I'm just at the Oak Grove
local KKK meeting.
What is your favorite piece of clothing? This is a hard one, I'm sure.
Oh, it's not hard for me. It's my Lululemons.
This
is a pair. I own like 15 pairs of Lululemons, and I wear them every single day of my life.
They're the most comfortable thing in the world.
They're like butter.
Yeah.
On your privates. It's so nice. I just don't want to wear any pants ever again. And it's gotten to a point where I wear them out. Like I'll wear these tonight with heels, and I will wear Lululemons like to a 5-star dinner with a pair of heels, and I'd give no fucks.
Lulu, they should be sending you free
They
shit.
should.
Lululemon, you know where to send it.
I represent 7 days a week.
You know what? I want to backtrack because I saw you post coming out here.
Yeah.
And you were looking good in your Lululemons, and then some bitch on the plane.
Yes.
If you want to tell that story real quick, because I was so mad for you. That's the kind of shit I hate more than anything, because that's what I loved about it. I'll let you tell the story before I.
Well, I was baffled, honestly. So what had happened is I was in the lounge drinking, and I didn't make group 1 when first class boards. So I boarded with group 4, and I just kind of like, they had just stopped boarding group 3 and they were about to say group 4, and I kind of like shimmied to the front because I know I'm in group 1 and I can check in whenever. So I go to board, and I go to put my suitcase in the overhead compartment, and the woman behind me is this white woman in her like 40, 45, 50. And she looks at me and she goes, you're in first class?
Oh.
And I just turned around and I was so shook, and I was like, excuse me? And she was like, okay. I think what had happened, because even the stewardess, the other people in first class, everyone was looking at me and looking at her like, what the fuck? And the stewardess was like, I'll keep an eye on her. You know, like, she must be this fucking crazy person. But I think what had happened was, so obviously I was in the lounge prior to this, and I'm at the bar having my morning Chardonnay, and talking to the guy next to me, and obviously he's asking what I do for a living, and so I'm telling him what I do for a living, and I have a voice that carries, you know. So I'm pretty sure she probably overheard some conversation, and that's when she like saw me sit down in first class and was like, hey, I assume that's what it was. I don't know for sure, but either way. And also, that first class seat was available 24 hours before that, because I only booked my flight 24 hours before that. So I'm like, it's not like you were trying to get this seat and you just couldn't, unless like you're the shittiest flight preparer ever. Like, I thought the Improv was buying my flight, and my brother was the one setting everything up, and so I was like, hey, where are my plane tickets? And he was like, oh, that's my bad.
Oh no,
you gotta get the ticket. And I was like, you fucker. I was like,
I would have hit that bitch with my bag.
Right?
I would have just went boom and just slammed.
But I was so baffled that I was so taken back, because I've never had anybody say something like that to me before, that I was like, well, I just gonna sit down in my seat here. But everyone around us heard her, and everyone looked at her like she was a crazy cunt. And I was like, all right, everybody's with me. Okay, go to coach.
Yeah.
Not that there's anything wrong with flying in coach, but like, don't be a cunt.
Yeah, but no, you don't get to judge like who fucking. If people do that too. That's what I loved about LA, is like the shittier you dressed, the more important people thought you were. So when I'm just I love like your Lululemons. I love just sweats.
Yes.
Cut off sweats and a t-shirt.
And also, why does it matter what the fuck I'm wearing? I'm showered. Yeah. It's not like.
And again, it's not your fucking plane.
Right.
Are you in your seat? Mind your business.
Yeah.
You don't need to worry about who sits anywhere. That shit drives me. I'm the most chill dude, but shit like that, I'd be like, mind your fucking business. What you don't work on this plane. Shit.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Back to fun questions. Who has the biggest piece of your heart?
I thought you were about to say something totally different.
I might. That's the next question.
Biggest piece of my heart.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I don't want that answer.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
Your dad?
Yeah, my dad, as a general like basic answer. But honestly, I think my ex still holds like a giant place in my heart, only because he was so great to me that he taught me how any man should treat me, and I've been single since him because no man has ever treated me the same. So he just taught me a lot about myself and made me learn to love myself and realize that I shouldn't put up with bullshit, you know? So that, and we still are great friends, even though we haven't been together in 14, 15 years. But
holy shit.
Yeah. But we still talk like once a month, you know, just to catch up on each other's lives.
Can't fix it?
We talk about like if we're both old and like on our deathbeds maybe, but like I live in Los Angeles and I love being in the limelight, and he is very simple country boy, would never, you know? Yeah.
Those country boys are the best though.
Yeah.
What's your best piece of work?
I don't know. That's a really hard question because I don't love watching myself.
Yeah.
Really hard to watch myself do porn. It's also comedy. It's hard to watch myself back doing stand-up. So I don't have a greatest piece of work. Can my car count? I love my car. That's my greatest piece of work.
What's your car?
I just bought a new G-Wagon, Mercedes G-Wagon, and I'm in love with it.
Yeah,
and that's my biggest accomplishment in life to date.
What color?
Well, it was gray when I bought it, and then I just had it redone in a flat black. Ooh. And I blacked out the wheels. It looks sick.
You are stopping traffic in that thing. Oh, that's a good piece of work.
It's my best piece of work.
That is impressive. Yeah. That is better.
Outside of that, I have horrible work that's been put out.
Yeah. What else? Oh, this is a good one for you. What is one piece of ass you would love to have?
David Beckham. I'll take his wife also if she has to be there.
Just either one of them?
No, him for sure. But like if she needs to be there, I'm totally down to lick her pussy.
Have you seen him in LA?
No, I never have. I would love to though. I would throw myself at them.
Okay, well this goes to another question from the Patreon. We're just skipping all over, but how often do famous dudes slide into the DMs?
A lot. So much. Do you know that that's how I attribute my start to comedy, honestly? So Jay Moore. Do you know Jay Moore?
Of course. Okay. Shout out to Jay Moore.
Jay Moore slid into my DMs so many years ago, and he had watched I think it even got taken down because it was the one porn where I was like, I don't have any kids. But in this porn, I was the real mom, and I was having sex with my real son, and I was drunk, and the whole scene was like where I was like telling him to like, don't tell your dad, like, shh, please. Like, and so it's like super taboo. Like, I don't even think it's allowed to be on the internet anymore. But he had seen that video, and he slid into my DMs and asked me to come be on his podcast. So I came and did his podcast. Enrique from the comedy, well, at that point was at the Improv. So he heard that interview and then gave me a weekend at the Improv. And that started like before then I'd only been doing open mics. Yeah. So that started my real actual comedy career, was because fucking Jay Moore sliding in my DMs.
Did you do it at his house, in his garage?
I think it might have been. I don't remember.
Well, I only say that because this
was like 9 years ago.
Shout out to Jay Moore. He did the same thing to me for different reasons.
I saw your porn.
He called me I was in the airport at LAX, and someone gave him my number. And he's like, hey, man, it's Jay Moore. I was like, it's not fucking Jay. I go, who? He's like, this is Jay Moore. Will you come to my house and do my podcast?
Have been at his
house. But he was still with that Nikki Cox, whoever his wife was.
Oh, I don't know.
And I was like, and I remember just driving to Jay Moore's house super nervous. And I was like, this is fucking Jay Moore from Jerry Maguire. I love Jerry Maguire.
See, but I wasn't nervous because I didn't really know who he was.
Oh, see, I was.
Like, that didn't mean anything to me.
Who... Without giving any names, is it more athletes or actors or everybody?
A lot of athletes, but a lot of really young athletes, honestly, and I have no interest in like.
Do they have any game, or they're just like, hey, I'm famous, are we gonna do this or what?
Yeah, they basically just like, hey, beautiful, or something like that. A lot of those things, but it's a lot of big name comics have slid in, a lot of athletes, a lot of like minor like YouTube stars and stuff like that, or like you know, a lot of guys who like think that they have like big money and like can impress me, but they don't realize that I make 10 times more money than you do. You're not impressing me.
Wait, is it weird when the comics slide in, then you have to see them out?
No,
Or they
because
just-
usually
they could probably
comics
just-
usually comics don't come in with like hitting on me. Normally they
Yeah.
come in with something else. Like, can I see your show? Will you come to my show or whatever? Like,
Yeah.
it's a basic, but I know where it's like leading because eventually it's like, come over to my house and let's do this and blah blah blah. So I mean, I get it. I've fucked very few comics in this world. You know, one of them, but
Who? No.
I was like, really? I was like,
I probably know. I didn't want to set you up there. I fucked comics. Probably the worst decisions I've ever made.
really?
I'm just gonna be honest. Every girl comic I've fucked, never fucked dude comics. I'm sure it's bad too.
Yeah, I
Has
mean,
yours gone good?
I've had great experiences with the comics
I've
I
had
fucked.
really bad female comedian.
I
to
think
the
I've only
point where
fucked 5, but I liked all 5 of them.
Well, see, I probably fucked 5 chick comics, and I don't know if I talked to any of them to this day.
I talked to every single one of them to this day.
You know what? A couple of them were just like casual, like adult fucks where we just knew we were fucking.
Yeah.
But a couple, like, I'd fucked for a little bit, and then they went crazy. And they'd do shit like this. They'd call me on like a Friday night at like 7:30.
When you're
like,
at a show.
Why didn't you answer? It's like, bitch, you know you were do the
Yeah.
same job. A couple of them, I was like, I blocked them on all social media, and then I said, you're blocked in like life. Like
Yeah.
if we see each other,
Yeah.
let's just not do this.
Yeah, I've blocked one on social media, but I would still talk to him in real life. And
Yeah.
honestly, I probably need to unblock, but I am passionate, and if you piss me off, I'm very quick with the block
Yeah.
button. So
I've actually made up with a couple of them, but it took a while. But I was just like, but then people.
I
was
don't
like,
hold grudges either. So
Yeah,
honestly,
I
I think
try
I have
not to.
Alzheimer's, so I don't remember why we fought. I'm like, they're like, do you want to be friends again? I'm like, sure. I don't know why we stopped being friends. Can't remember.
What's the weirdest DM you've ever gotten?
Oh Lord, there's
can't-
just so many.
Yeah.
There would be no way to even
What
tell.
is like just people just try to impress you with cash or like trips or
Yeah, sometimes cash or trips, or I think the most interesting ones are like the death threats, though.
oh
Like,
you get that
oh yeah.
Why?
Like like coming to kill you and your family, like
just because what you do, like
yeah,
religious
like, yeah,
freaks?
even village, yeah,
The people
even
your
village.
mom hired to try
Yeah.
to scare you out of the business.
Yeah,
I didn't think about that bad part.
yeah, oh yeah. There's all sorts of bad. There is a lie. I would say 80% good, and then like 20% is like
Yeah.
people want you to rot in hell and die.
Jeez, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Would it just unsolicited dick pics people send them or no?
Yes
I wouldn't
and
think
no.
that's a move, really.
Not really.
Yeah, I would think that's a bad move. I'd be
Yeah.
like,
I mean, solicited ones on my OnlyFans because I rate them.
oh, you do?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, here's a good time.
I actually love rating dicks, if I'm being honest.
Oh, really?
One of my favorite things, yeah. And
What,
I'm
what
very,
makes a good dick?
I was going to say, I'm very particular. So it's a dick pic in general. So what makes a good dick pic is like, I want a clean background. If there's a mirror anyway
Okay.
involved, it has to be clean. Like, I don't want to see junk on your floor. I don't
Write
want to
this
see
down.
stuff. Yeah, I don't want to see stuff laying around. Like, tidy up, you know?
Okay.
Also, pubic hair matters, so have some sort of trim. Don't just be a wild child down there, especially if your dick is on the smaller side. You really want to trim down because that hair will overkill the penis. Make sure that you are erect. Make sure that there is something to size it next to, like a water bottle or a Celsius can or something that everyone knows what the size is it, like
Oh,
the
you
size
have to
of
make it, you know, what you want.
I want a frame of reference.
Oh, I never
Because
thought
it's
about that.
because everyone's hands are different size, so I don't want to see it in your. Well, you can have it in your hand, but I want it next to something where I can see exactly what we're working with, and I want different angles. Like I want to see, because I love the little under tip of a dick where the circumcision meets like that little pee hole, and it's like right there. I love that, so I want to see that because I want to see how you're cut. Because certain dicks have that little tightness right there, and if you flick that little tightness with your tongue, it like sends them into a whole nother world. So I like to know if that's there, and then I like to see balls. I don't want them to miss out on the balls, so even if you have to take multiple angles, that's fine, but I like to see if they're tight balls or loose balls. Like I just like all of it.
Never thought about this.
Yeah, and I love if it's like the veinier the better.
What
you
about
know?
uncircumcised? That gets a bad
I love
score?
both.
Oh,
No,
really?
I love both.
That seems gross to me.
It's not gross.
What, you just rate them 1 to 10?
Yeah, but I will say like the lowest I'm gonna give is like a 6 because I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. Like I'll
That's nice.
find some way to like either tell you how to improve it or, just some way to like still like build you up without making you feel like a total piece of shit. You know, like I will find some good quality about your penis that I like.
What's the best score anyone's ever got?
So I honestly only go up to a 9.5 because I say, unless I've tasted it or know, like, you know, or like been on it, like I can't give a full 10.
You drive these dudes crazy. I have to start an OnlyFans. Not have to, but I'm shooting something with OnlyFans. And then I wonder, I don't think it would go the other way. Do you think I could rate vaginas?
I mean, I'm sure you could. Women would love... I don't want to steal
your thing, but...
No, but women would probably love to know, to be honest. Because everyone is like, what? You know, like, how does my vagina, like, rank, you know?
I know.
And
I like your strategy, too. I was like, 9.5 until I can taste it.
I got to taste it.
Because taste is
very
important.
It matters. It really does.
And that might be my move.
I've been around a lot of different vaginas, and I will say that there's definitely a scale of vaginas also.
Mm-hmm. Here's a weird question that I never thought I'd ask anybody, but you would know. Well, you do interracial ones, right?
For sure. I have since day one.
So I dated a couple black girls. Am I crazy? But I feel like their pubic hair is...
coarser?
Yeah, it's like a Brillo pad, like in your sink. I could fuck my chin all
It is coarser, yeah.
Now,
but I guess I'm not eating a lot of, like, pussy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was at the time, but it really, that pubic hair, white dudes are scared of black girls. So when I can't really have this conversation, I'm like, no, I promise that it like really messed my chin up.
Yeah, it is thicker. They just have different hair. Yeah.
Told you guys.
And in the same, like Indian men have like a finer hair down there also.
Oh, like silky?
Yeah, like silky and sometimes straight, which really makes me want to gag. Whoa. So they definitely have to trim.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Straight hair?
Yeah, and Asian men especially have straight pubic hair. Oh. I always been like, cut. Please do not.
Damn, I don't.
Yeah. Also because Asian dicks tend to be on the smaller side anyway, and then to add straight long hair over it, I'm like, no, please. It's so painful sometimes. But I always give tips. That's just it. It's like, I always will be like, you can resubmit, like do X, Y, and Z, and then come back to me with another picture.
How many have submitted?
I couldn't tell you. So many over the years.
Is that many?
So many.
Do they pay to submit?
Yeah, for sure.
What do you charge for a dick rating?
Honestly, I think it's like $150. I'd have to double check. I don't have all my rates off the top of my head.
Awesome. You got a G-Wagon by just judging dick. I'm so inspired.
Yeah, honestly,
that's amazing.
Yeah, thank you. I tell people all the time, like, especially now, I've been in for 9 years. I barely work for studios anymore. So, like, I make all my money from my living room. That's what people don't get. I'm like, I just call my friends over. Sometimes I call my friends over, or it's just me masturbating alone in my bedroom, like, or in my living room or kitchen room, whatever. And then, like, occasionally I'll call people over and we have sex in my house. And, like, that's how I make money. And that's crazy.
So, this OnlyFans thing, your advice would be, I think that's so creative. Obviously, no one's going to want to see me fuck, but I should do something creative.
You don't know
or
that.
if there's the women out there. Here's another question I have. So many women have OnlyFans.
Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of them aren't really making money.
I mean, there is definitely...
They all say they're in the 1%. I'm like, can everybody be in the 1%?
No.
And why do you not have a ride to my house if you make so much money? Where's your G-Wagon?
Yeah, so there's definitely tiers. And I accredit that I did a Hulu documentary a couple years ago about OnlyFans. And that, for me, changed my course of OnlyFans. But that was just because it got so much exposure. That's the thing is... it's how many people know you even exist. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's about having eyeballs on you more than anything. And I already had a big name from porn coming into it. So it was a little bit easier for me. And like I said, with that documentary, like it really changed the game. But
so like how much do you have to post on average? Do you have a goal or is it...
It's so what's nice about OnlyFans is you can set up your post, but I have posts set up going out every 30 minutes.
Every 30 minutes?
On my OnlyFans, yeah.
How? Like
you have automatic things that you set up.
But they're not all video content, are they?
So it's different photos or like video clips, so like teaser things like that. But we have constant content
every 30
going out. Yeah.
I mean, this is like the hardest job you probably ever had. Right?
That's what people don't understand. They're like, oh, you don't work at all. I'm like, I work almost every single day. I film content constantly. It's a lot.
Damn, I didn't know every 30 minutes. I was thinking I might put out, again, I'm not going to do anything close to what I might get like a model G-Wagon, like a Lego G-Wagon or something, but I'd still like to make $100 or something, but
it was on my,
that much work.
Yeah, so much. That G-Wagon's been on my bucket list for a while, and it's funny that you say the mini because I bought my goddaughter a little mini G-Wagon for her birthday like 2 years ago, and when I bought it for her, I was like, she calls me Auntie K. And I was like, Auntie K is going to get one of these next. And 2 years later,
that is so
locked
awesome.
it in.
What's next what's after the G-Wagon?
So, well, I'm going to buy some property this year, probably in Kansas City, just because my family can help maintain it. And then I'm going to buy a house. My lease will be up next year.
A house in L.A.?
Yeah.
You got to see a lot of dicks to do that.
You do got to see a lot of dicks.
Or just get the right dick.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, I really don't even need dicks in my life at this point.
No.
Make enough money just fiddling myself.
I just love that you made that much money just rating dicks. What a genius.
Well, I mean, not just that. But
no, I know. But that's still a genius.
Yeah.
Okay. Couple more questions. Well, you know what? We should watch this video, actually.
Let's watch it.
Let's watch this video. So what we have is a submitted video. I tell you guys this every week, or I will. This is a real story. Don't try to figure out who it is. It's very vulnerable. We changed the name. These are real stories. I know where they all came from. But all I ask is if you know the person on any of these videos ever, it's not for that. They wanted to be a part of the show, but they don't want these stories to come out. So let's watch this video, and then we'll talk about it. Welcome to another episode of The Diary of a Piece of Shit. Today's episode is titled Extra Special Day. This is a female one. I'm excited for this one. We don't get a lot of females, and so here we go. Dear Diary, I always thought the best day of my life would be the day I would marry my now ex-boyfriend. I could have never imagined that the day he married a girl I absolutely despised would be a day that will now forever put a smile on my face. If you ask me, we should have never broken up. The only reason we did was because his mom never liked me. Even though I was always nothing but polite and respectful to her, she just didn't like that I was Mexican and grew up in the worst neighborhood in town. She was a country club mom who only cared about what all of the other rich women in her elite circles thought about her. The funny thing is, it didn't matter who her son dated, because every woman in her life secretly hated her. As a matter of fact, everybody hated her, and to this day, everyone still does. All of her so-called friends only tolerated her because of who her husband was, and her husband was the best. He would have been the best father-in-law of all time. The crazy thing is that he is still with her, but I think he just stays with her because they have been together for 30 years, and they got married way before the days of the prenup. I once heard him say to his buddy, "It's cheaper to keep her," and I honestly think he believes that. I can't really blame him. Who wants to get a divorce and lose half of everything you worked so hard to get? That's for sure. I started dating Dylan at the end of my sophomore year, and he was definitely my first love. If I'm being honest, our relationship wasn't always the best. We were having the same problems most couples have after 5 years, and I was probably a little extra bitchy because I was not so patiently waiting on a ring. We had talked a lot about getting married, and I knew he bought a ring. I also knew that he was too scared to propose, mainly because he knew his stupid mom was going to throw a fit about him marrying a lowly Mexican girl like me. Oh, this poor girl. During the first 4 years of our relationship, she was constantly trying to replace me. When we made it to year 5, she took it to a whole new level. I really believe she was determined to get rid of me that summer. There was a rich girl named Mallory whose mom was best friends with Dylan's mom, and I just knew those two bitches were concocting a plan to get them together. I could see the writing on the wall, and it drove me fucking crazy. Mallory was a total bitch to me in high school and married the star golfer from our high school a week after graduation. He realized what a bitch she was and divorced her after 2 years of marriage. Mallory is now single and heartbroken. So Dylan and Mallory's mom started to plan family trips together. Even though I was Dylan's girlfriend of 5 years, I was never invited. The thought of Dylan and Mallory in Italy together for 3 weeks was starting to make me lose sleep at night. I was fucking furious. I think that's fair. Dylan's mom sounds like a bitch. I'm going to say it now. The disrespect was too much, so I felt like I had to break up with him. He was definitely shocked and sad, but I think he was also relieved, because that meant he didn't have to deal with his mom's bitching anymore. In hindsight, I'm so glad I did not marry him. He was such a mama's boy and just a coward every time I needed him to step up and be a man. I just hated Mallory so much, and when we broke up, I told him please date anybody in the world except for her. We know where this is going. I bet you can guess what happened next. 6 weeks after we broke up, he started dating Mallory. 6 months later, he proposed to that dumb bitch. And just when I didn't think it could get any worse, that piece of shit gave her my dream ring. When we were still together, we had gone to 15 different jewelry stores. And as we walked into the 16th store, I saw that ring, and it stopped me dead in my tracks. The second I saw that ring, I knew that ring was the only ring for me. Oh, this sucks. I feel bad for this girl. Over the next few months, I watched their wedding planning from afar, mainly through social media. Naturally, everyone in my small town was always in a hurry to tell me their every move. But as Mallory was planning their wedding, I was planning my revenge. Here we go. The day he proposed was the day I knew I had to fuck him one more time. I never imagined it would be on his wedding day. But when my evil friend Teresa suggested it, I quickly realized it was the perfect day. The big question was, how was I going to make it happen? I told my 3 closest friends my diabolical plan, and they all loved it. They were all willing to do anything to help because they also hated Mallory and Dylan's mom. This is pretty. On the wedding day, that is... Oh. My friend Lisa owned the local flower shop, so we came up with a plan where she would tell him that she was making a very special bouquet to give to his mother at the ceremony, and he could come pick it up the morning of the wedding. When Dylan showed up at the flower shop that morning, he was definitely shocked to see me. I was preying on the fact that he was still a pussy, and I had a pretty good feeling that if I was aggressive, he wouldn't have the balls to say no. When I made the first move, he didn't even try to stop me. His reaction was the exact opposite of rejection. He actually went for it. I was shocked. He was much more aggressive than he ever was when we were in a relationship. I was wearing a sundress with no panties, and it took him all of 30 seconds to get that sundress off of me. He grabbed my hand and took me into Lisa's office and fucked me right on her desk. It was so hot. It was pretty hot, I gotta say. I couldn't believe that the little mama's boy coward I dated appeared to have turned into an actual man. For the first time in my life, he actually fucked me like a man, and I loved every second of it. When we finished, we put our clothes back on and had a nice little chat like 2 adults. He told me he always thought it would be me he would marry, but it wasn't, and that's okay. He explained that Mallory wasn't as bad as I thought she was. She had actually grown up a lot and was no longer the bitch she was in high school. He also admitted that it was kind of an arranged marriage, but that he really did grow to love Mallory, and that his life was so much easier without his mom's constant bitching. I never believed in closure, but I realized this finally did give us closure. Honestly, I planned on fucking him and leaking the info strategically so that it would get back to his mom and Mallory. Surely that would ruin their lives forever. But after our post-sex talk, I swore it'd be our little secret that I would take to my grave. He gave me a big hug, and I told him to go enjoy his big day. I often wonder what kind of guilt he felt while he exchanged his vows with Mallory that day. I imagine I had to fuck with him. That day they did the big church wedding with all the religious bullshit that afternoon, but only he, I, and God know that he fucked 2 girls on his wedding day. I admit I was a piece of shit for trying to have sex with him on his wedding day, and he was a piece of shit for actually having sex with me on his wedding day, but it was just one more thing we had in common. We are both pieces of shit, and I will always believe that it should have been our piece of shit wedding that day. Can you imagine 2 pieces of shit living happily ever after? I often wonder what our piece of shit kids would have been like. I guess we will never know. Wow. That took a twist. That was a diabolical... I'm for revenge. We got some revenge on this show. That was fucking on the wedding day. Good job, girl. Take that, Mallory, and that bitch-ass mom. Wow. Pretty good story. Good.
Yeah.
It wasn't Mallory. Did she say what her name was? It doesn't matter. But take that, Mallory.
Yeah, that was intense.
I felt bad, and then I was like, that was revenge.
I was a little sad at the end, though, because I feel like they did really love each other, and now they don't get to be, like, in a love relationship. Like, it's like an arranged marriage. That's so strange.
I had something kind of like that one time where I just knew the girl's mom
hated
I felt
you.
like she was always looking for something better, and I was like, it did hurt my feelings. So I see where she's coming from, but
yeah, damn,
that was pretty good revenge.
Yeah, could you do that? Could you sleep with somebody on their wedding day?
I could be the girl if out of spite.
Yeah,
I couldn't do that. I would like to think. I mean, I've never been married, but
yeah,
that's a pretty bad thing to do. I mean, like she said, the guilt. I mean, I'm not perfect by any means. I've cheated before, and I can sometimes rationalize cheating as like, I can't really, it's not good, but you can like say, well, I just had to, I love her, but I just wanted something new once in a while or something. I try not to do it to be selfish, but on my own wedding day, I would think that would be. You know what's crazy is my mom and my dad is just a piece of shit. That's probably where I get it from. But my dad tried to convince my mom to, the day of her wedding, leave with him. And my mom was going to do it. And then my dad, just like what my dad did my whole life, luckily he didn't show up. But my mom had mapped out this, like, was going to leave the back of the church with my dad and run away because she didn't want to marry. It was kind of, you know, it's weird. I just thought about it. It was kind of, well, my mom, you know what, that story is weird because my grandma was like country. I don't think my grandma was mean as this lady's mom, but I just realized I think my mom felt pressure to marry this guy because he's pretty successful in our little hometown. And then my dad was just a bad boy. And then my mom, the guy she was supposed to marry, like he did a bunch of like horse tranquilizers at his bachelor party like the day before or something. So he was all fucked up anyway. And she's like, I don't want to marry this guy.
Oh, Jesus.
My dad was super charming. And he was like, just come out the back door. I'll be waiting. And my mom went to the back door like out of a movie. And then my dad wasn't. She should have known right then to stay away from my dad.
But eventually, obviously, they got back together and had you.
Yeah, and then messed everything up. But no, I couldn't do it on the wedding. I mean, that's awful.
Yeah. I don't know, though. If my future mother-in-law or whatever like didn't invite me on a family vacation of 3 weeks but like took this other girl for my son, like
I could do the girl part. I could do the revenge part.
Yeah, like
for sure. I like revenge more than I should probably. People are like, I think I need to, feel like you grow up and get out of it, but there's a few people that are just waiting for the right moment.
I think about revenge for like 24 hours and then I'm like, moving on.
I got 24 years on some of these fucking people just waiting for the right time.
I'm telling you, I truly do think I have like early onset. Like Alzheimer's does run in my family, and like the amount of things where I'm like, I got no idea. Like whole people, they're like, you don't remember knowing me? I'm like, no.
Oh yeah, but you meet so many people. Maybe I have the same thing, but in our business, you just meet.
Yeah, it's a lot.
People always like. I mean, that's like. The worst question I ever get is like, do you remember my name? I'm just like, I'm sorry. I don't know.
I know.
Then I never guess it right.
Yeah, I'm like, never. Yeah, I remember you. Never.
You could ask me anything in the world, but when I hear that question, I'm like, no, I don't know.
This is going to embarrass both of us, and you know it.
Hate it. Well, that was a pretty good story. Thank you for submitting that. If you have a story, submit it. Again, we'll keep it anonymous. That was a good one.
Yeah, that was a...
all right, let me get you a few more questions. We'll get you out of here. You got a big show tonight. But these are good questions I want to ask you because you have great answers. Some comedians are boring, and you have. When are you gonna write a book?
Well, I've actually written a series. So.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
Like a memoir, though?
Basically, yeah.
Oh.
So we're gonna.
Well, is it done?
It's done enough that we're like gonna pitch it.
Oh, okay. So I was just saying we can plug it, but
no. Yeah,
you've teased even before the adult film and everything. It sounds like even starting in high school. It sounds like it's been a wild.
Yeah, it's been a wild ride. Yeah.
That's great. I'm excited. Obviously, I wrote a book, and I say it every time. If you got a book and you write it, it's the best thing I've ever done. So I'm excited. And
it was very therapeutic to write the series.
You know what's weird is I wrote mine, and then it didn't bother me when I was writing it, and then when I had to read it,
same.
I read it out loud, and then I started crying when I was recording, and I was like, even though I'd read it so many times in edits, it never bothered me. But when I read it out loud, I just started crying. I was like, and I had two awesome women producing it, and they came over, and we all cried and hugged, which was funny because I was so broke at the time. I thought I was gonna have to do it in like my rap buddy's studio, and I think my rap friends have been like, man, shut up, you pussy, we all got badass dads, you little bitch. Where these two ladies were just bawling, hugging me. But
doesn't it feel like, because I felt when I was reading back the stuff, because I'm writing it obviously, like, piecing together little things, and then you'd remember a little bit more, but it feels like I'm talking about somebody else. Yeah. Did it feel like that for you?
Well, a lot of it I didn't know. A lot of it was my mom told me stories.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then I didn't know what my mom went through to help me because my dad was so bad. So then when I started reading it, then I was like, man, my mom was awesome. Then it just makes you think, fuck, every time I was mean to my mom, not knowing what she did. But luckily a lot of my bad stuff was like from 4 to 7. So I don't... And they did a good job protecting me. That's the thing I'd say about my mom and my grandparents, and even the small town I came from. I was talking to somebody last night. Everybody in my town knew my dad was bad, so coaches and teachers and stuff, I think were
Kinda
really,
stepped
I
up.
had great mentors. So people are like, your dad sucked, did you have a rough life? I go, I didn't even know my dad was bad till I wrote this book. And then I was like, fuck, my mom was dealing with bullshit. But
yeah.
no,
I didn't realize we were poor until I was like an
you
adult. Yeah, my mom's like, we lived in government housing. Why do you think you had bag cereal? I'm like, I don't know. We had cereal and I had a house. Like, I didn't fucking know, you know?
And now you got a G-Wagon.
Yeah.
What did I just say? Oh, did I ask you this? What moment in life were you the most scared?
No, you didn't ask that.
Oh, no, I asked about the book. Sorry, I got distracted.
Yeah. Ooh. A real answer is I give all real answers. So I'm so sorry. And I have no like filter to tell you when it's inappropriate. At 24, and I talk about this in my series, I had committed suicide, and when the police arrived, I was like dead on arrival, and I like had to bring me back in the ambulance. But I had down some pills, not enough to kill me, and then slit my wrist in the wrong direction. And then I drank bleach, which
holy shit,
that's
you
the
were
kicker.
Really going for
yeah,
it.
I was going for it. And the bleach, the moment it hit my throat, it was the most terrifying moment of my life because it instantly burns. I couldn't even smell bleach for like 10 years after that. But the burning sensation that immediately took place, I was scared out of my mind. Even though I knew I was trying to kill myself, I instantly got so scared I called 911 on myself and told them what I had just done, and they broke down my door and
they obviously got you in time.
Yeah, and like brought me back on the way to the hospital.
Holy shit.
But that was the most scary moment of my life. And then followed up by I woke up in a straitjacket in a padded room because it's illegal to attempt suicide.
Oh,
so
it is?
yes, and at least in Missouri.
You were in Missouri. Oh, in Missouri.
Yeah, so when you wake up, not only is like you're still alive, but now you have criminal charges against you. And and I was locked in a mental facility. I was like a prisoner of the state, basically,
For how long?
like 6 weeks.
Oh my God.
Yeah. They're like feeding you full of like prescription medication that you have to take every day, like walking around with slippers with little grips on your feet. Fucking it was intense.
Holy
yeah.
shit.
That was the scariest moment.
That's
of my life.
scary.
Yeah.
God, thank God it didn't work. Thank God you're bad at that.
Yeah.
You're good at everything else. You just suck at committing.
No, I suck at pretty much everything else also. Like I've not been good at anything in my life.
Well, you might have just answered the next question. Where's the worst place you've ever had to sleep?
Yeah, that was pretty bad. No, honestly, worse than that was
the mental ward?
Yes. I was actually on the road doing comedy.
Oh, of course. Comedy's worse than
And it was this, not even a club. It was like Mike Stanley. Do you remember?
Yeah,
do you know
of course.
Mike
He
Stanley?
lives
Okay.
here.
Oh, he lives here?
Well, he did live here, but yeah, shout
okay.
out to Mike Stanley.
Yeah.
He's my boy.
So I was doing shows with him, and we had gone to like Minnesota or somewhere weird, and it like wasn't a comedy club, but the place we were staying was like an old rundown hotel, and like the guy brought us towels from his house to our room, and it was the most fucked up thing. And like, it felt like we were in a murder scene. Like even a guy came to our door because I think it was like kind of like a halfway house that he was running. And so like this guy comes to our door with a fucking knife that Mike like had to like take the knife from the guy. Like
Jesus.
It was like a whole ordeal. And like the chairs weren't real chairs. They were like boxes with like things covering them. Like nothing was like real furniture in the place. It was just beyond sketch. It was the sketch of all sketch. Just the guy bringing us towels from his house to our hotel room.
Yeah.
And I was like, what are we doing here? And I think the show maybe had like 12 people in the audience. It was just nightmare on top of nightmare.
Comedy. Well, you survived it.
Yeah. Ugh. I also think we were supposed to do a full weekend of shows, and we did one show to like 12 people.
I'm out. I'd say I'm out. You can keep this
so
$50.
Bad. Yeah.
Who have you met in life that made you the most nervous?
That is also a really good question because I don't feel like I really get intimidated. By people.
So is comic, porn star, any?
Yeah, I don't know. I can't say that I've ever really been intimidated by anybody. I just feel like people are people, and at the end of the day. So, I mean, everybody shits their pants at some point,
That's true.
So it's like I
shit my pants all the time. So
I've never felt intimidated. If anything, I think I freak out people when I meet them because I'm so, like when I met Anthony Jeselnik and I pulled him in close and told him that I would let him, what did I say? I said I would rub my clit on your forehead and fuck your brain.
That was your opening line?
Yeah, to Anthony Jeselnik.
How'd it go? Did he do it?
He like pulled away and he was like, all right. He was like, what do I get out of the deal? And I was like, that is a great question. But he did like it.
He's so quick, even, and that's how great Jeselnik is.
Yeah.
I would have fucking panicked if you said that to me, and he just was like, came back with the perfect.
Yeah. But I knew he remembered me because like a few weeks later, I met him at the Comedy Store, and this was at the Comedy Store like a few weeks later, and I'm like passing him in the hallway, and I didn't think he recognized me, so I wasn't going to say anything, and he was like, hey, your girl's going to rub your clit on my forehead, right? And I was like, yeah, that was me. Like, I just have no filter.
That's not something you forget. Problem. You're never going to forget. He'll never forget you. No girl is ever, if a girl.
I said, my exact line, I think, was, I think you're brilliant. I would rub my clit on your forehead and fuck your brain. Yeah.
That's a fucking great pickup line.
Yeah.
That is great. And of course, Jeselnik is so great that he just, I don't know how he said no. I don't know if there's more to that story, but.
I have not fucked him or his forehead. So.
Okay. I was going to say.
The offer still stands, though.
How was road dates with Jeselnik? I would have been like, we could go right now.
Offer still stands, Anthony. Just
all right. Yeah. Well, hopefully one day he'll be on the podcast. I'll say, how did it go? And
yeah.
That's a great answer. It's a hard question to follow up. What's the best concert or sporting event you've ever been to?
I just went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And the Chiefs won. Yeah. So, and that's my team. And I got to take my whole family. I took my dad, my brother, and my aunt, which is my dad's sister. And we have had season tickets to the Chiefs my entire life, 39 now, so just at 39 years. And I've always had season tickets. Even now, I don't live in Kansas City. I still have 3 season tickets. So,
awesome.
Yeah. So I go back for as many home games as my schedule allows. And my family is really big. We travel to all the away games. So when the Super Bowl came up, I knew I really wanted to take my family. And I told them I was going to take them. And none of them believed me because I hadn't bought tickets. Yeah. And so they were just like, yeah, we're going to go to the Super Bowl. I was like, no, get fucking excited. We are going to the Super Bowl. But I didn't buy tickets until... I think it was 3 days out because I knew that they would drop the closer you got to the game. So, I mean, I still paid $6,000 a fucking ticket. They weren't cheap.
Say, what did you pay? 6?
Yeah.
That's 6 is good for a Super Bowl.
It was good for Super Bowl because they were much, much higher when I started looking. So, but I was like, yeah, get pumped. And like, until I bought the tickets, like they were just like, yeah, well, we got hotel rooms, but we got refundable ones. So blah, blah. And I was like, no, why are you doubting me? Yeah. We are going. So that's
awesome.
Amazing for me. Like all of us cried. Like it was the coolest moment.
I cried when the Broncos. I cry sometimes watching the videos. You ever have any Chiefs reach out in the DMs?
No, but I mean, Travis Kelce is welcome.
I was going to say, who would you, Travis or Patrick?
Hands down, Travis.
But couldn't you do the world a favor and just fucking get rid of Patrick Mahomes' girl?
Yeah, his brother's shit too. He just got arrested for like molestation or something like that.
He's the worst. His wife and his brother the worst. He's the greatest quarterback.
Honestly, they're gonna ruin his career.
No,
that's what sucks.
We need you to slide in.
I know, yeah, but I don't.
Do you ever slide in DMs the other way?
No, no, honestly, because I don't really have like time, and occasionally I will go through. Like I quite genuinely look for the blue check marks when I go through my
who's gonna
DMs.
fuck a regular dude?
So, and occasionally I will answer those, but I don't slide in.
You should try Trav.
I should try Travis, actually.
Travis, if you're watching, slide in there. Or Patrick. Please, Patrick. Get rid of that awful wife or whatever she is. That's Bronco fans hater.
Everyone, I think, hates her.
She's the worst. Yeah. She's so obnoxious. And when Jackson's the worst, too. But
that's the brother.
And he seems like such a humble, cool dude. It's hard for me as a Bronco fan.
Yeah.
But Travis and Patrick, they just seem like cool dudes.
Yeah.
Okay, a couple more. We'll get you out of here. Ooh, this is a good one too. What's the best gift you've ever received?
Honestly, this is from a fellow comedian that I got, but I was booking my flight for my own birthday, for my 35th birthday. I was booking a flight to Australia, and this comic happened to call me, and he was like, "What are you doing?" And I told him, and he was like, "No, send it to Eddie." He was like, "I'm going to pay for your flight," and bought my entire flight to Australia. So that was that was a pretty amazing gift.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
I got a guess too, but I won't do it because he's the most generous dude.
He's so generous.
I think I know exactly what you're talking about. And you know what's cool about him? He does shit like this all the time, and no one really knows it. So it's one of two people.
I tell everyone he's the nicest person I've ever met.
We won't put him on blast because then people ask for stuff. But you know who you are,
and we
you're
love
a good dude. And my birthday is September 25th. Who's the coolest person's phone number you have? And I'm not gonna make you call him, but if you called right now, do you think they would answer?
Well, that person is probably the coolest, and he would almost definitely answer. I'd say 98% unless he's busy doing something. Who else is like a big one? Oh, lots of big porn stars, and they would definitely
answer.
Yeah.
All right, one more question.
Okay.
You know what? Plug everything. Let's plug everything. Where do you?
Yes. So Instagram is the Silvia Saige.
900,000 this week. Good
yeah,
job.
I know.
Got to get you to 1 million.
I know.
To 1 million.
Yeah, it's gonna happen this year. I'm like,
it's gonna happen by
bound
June.
and determined.
It's a big podcast.
Yeah.
We're gonna get you to at least 902,000.
902. I think I might hit 902 today, actually.
Oh, that's because this podcast.
There it is. Or OnlyFans, obviously. Silvia Saige or Silvia Saige XXX. There's a free and a paid page. And then
send your dicks in.
And
then let us know what your score is.
Yeah, and I'm very honest. And I give detailed descriptions.
So it's just anonymous, right?
I mean, it can be. They can put a face.
Is it just a one-on-one thing?
Yeah.
Oh, so you don't post on the page so people could go...
No, I do. So, the page itself, you can post, anything you want, but then they can message you privately. They can buy, individual customs privately. But, the page itself is, say, an Instagram page.
Yeah.
But then, all the messaging and stuff like that
so people can see what you rate?
No. That's
can't?
private.
Oh.
Yeah. No, I'm not
I'd want to see.
You want to see what the ratings are?
Well, it's
for
just
people?
a competitive thing. I think I would like to see. I don't know if I'd want to see that many dicks. People are if there's ever a celebrity photo that leaks, I always want to look at it.
Well, for
and then my friends are like, "You're gay." I go, I just want to see.
I just want to know. Yeah.
If Chris Brown really is that? I was then I see it. I was like, "Ooh, I don't want to see it."
Yeah, I would love to see Pete Davidson's dick, just to know.
I can't believe it's not out there.
I can't believe it's not either. Honestly, I don't think I'd still fuck him though, even if funny and a big dick. I don't think I could.
You have to. For the story alone and for your career. I mean, your career's going great, but that's just I'd fuck him.
Yeah.
And I've touched one dick in my life.
Only one?
Well, I think that's right.
Just yours? That's
just
the only
mine.
one?
I'm like, no, I don't think. I have a one, you know, it's funny.
Gotta take more risk.
I have one. I have a crazy story. I've kissed a dude one time.
Good for you.
And it wasn't by choice.
Oh.
I don't think he'll care if I don't think he has a choice because I didn't have a choice in the moment, but Jim Jeffries, one of my favorite comedians.
Love, yeah.
And so he was doing shows in Vegas, and I was doing shows somewhere else, and then I went and met up with him, and Forrest Shaw, very funny comedian, his opener.
Yeah.
And Jim was just drunk, and then we go to this party in this back of this bar, and Forrest brings me over to Jim, and he's like, "Hey, Jim's Brant," and Jim's like, "Hey, nice to meet you," whatever. And then Forrest's like, "No, you work," because I had opened for him a couple times. He goes, "No, Brant, you opened for him. He opened for you. You guys did shows together." And Jim Jeffries just grabbed me by the face, kissed me right on the mouth.
Wow.
And I was like, not just no tongue or anything, but I was like, holy shit, I just got kissed by Jim Jeffries. I was like, I love everything that's ever came out of that mouth. That was a weird one. And I was like, so I tell that story sometimes. I was like,
Did you enjoy it?
I was in shock.
You were too shocked to enjoy.
I don't even know it happened. It was like a car wreck. It just happened. It was like, I don't even know. It just happened so fast. I was like, because I was still just like, oh, it's Jim, and he was drunk, and I was like, you know, when you see
he's an idol of
it's
mine
like when
too.
you see Jeselnik, or I was like, I should have used your line,
Yeah.
but no. Then he just kissed me for 2 seconds or something. I was like, Then I forget who I told. I was like, they're like, what'd you do last night? I was like, you're not going to believe this.
Making out with Jim Jeffries.
They're like, oh, you made it. I was like, no, we didn't make it. Then we went out, and I can't tell the rest of the story, but he was great.
I think I know the rest of the story.
No, not. I'll tell you after, because it involves another comedian. And I'll just tell you this. So then we're walking through a club. We go up to the club front doors, and then they're like, it's like 5 of us, dudes, at a club in Vegas. And they're like, you're dudes. And then Jim's like, that's me on the wall. Like, and they go, oh, sorry, you're Jim Jeffries. You can come in. So we go in the club. We walk in the club. We're walking by this booth, and a comic jumps out and grabs us. And it was an opener for a famous comic that everybody hates. I'll just leave it at that. You can figure it out if you want to. So we go into his booth, and he's like, get drinks. We all get drinks. And Jim is sitting up on the ledge with this comic. And Jim's, again, super drunk, and he's talking to this comic. And then it's like he just realized, I'm fucking Jim Jeffries. This is the comic everybody hates the most. Like, I'm not supposed to be talking to this dude in public. And Jim Jeffries just stands up, and he gives us like the look, like let's go. And we just left. Didn't say thank you for the drinks. Didn't say bye to the guy. We just walked right out of his booth and walked off. And we were like...
I think I know who you're talking about, but I have to know.
Well, it's Carlos Mencia. But,
that's who I thought it was. Yeah. So, yeah. Okay.
I don't think Jim would care the story, but it was so weird that... And Carlos was nice to us, but it was like, I swear to God, and I can't speak for Jim, but he was talking to him, and it was just like something clicked in his head, and he was like,
who he was, probably.
I'm fucking Jim Jeffries. I'm not supposed to be talking to Carlos Mencia with all these people watching. Yeah. And I'm telling you, we were gone, just bounced, and I was like, this is the craziest night. Comedy. That's what's crazy. You have nights like that, and you have nights where people deliver towels from their house.
Yeah.
Okay, we plugged everything.
My
OnlyFans, Instagram.
Yes, and also YouTube, my podcast, Sexy Funny Raw. It's also on all streaming networks.
Yeah. So. And tour dates, you're touring all the time?
I have things up on SilviaSaigeComedy.com also. Thank you.
So follow her, find her, go see her. Yeah. She's super funny. She's good at everything except for suicide, thank God. And you know what?
Hey, I still succeeded. Just saying. Just for a minute.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Just dabbled in it. Just like me. I kissed Jim for just a minute. I wasn't good at it. I did it.
Yeah.
All right. We'll end with this question. And thank you so much for doing this. I know you're busy and you have shows tonight, and I really appreciate it because you're going to be a hard one to follow. You're very real and honest, and you make a great podcast guest.
Oh, thank you.
But don't hit her up. She's very busy. Unless you have a really good podcast. We'll end with this one. What's the best party you've ever been to?
Oh my gosh. So I have so many good ones. But the best one was definitely a Jeter party. So do you know what Jeters are?
No.
So it's weed, but they're basically like, they're weed, but they also have wax inside them, and then they're rolled in keef. So they're wildly powerful. Mm-hmm. And they threw a secret celebrity party. I was not invited, but Alexis Fox was. And so me, Alexis, and Cherie went on her guest passes or whatever. And we go to this parking lot in downtown, I think it was downtown Hollywood. And then we all get on these buses, and they bus us an hour away where we're not even allowed to we could have our phones, but nobody knew where we were going. And then we show up to this giant mansion, and it's like a stoner's paradise. They had every kind of food truck you could imagine. They had pizza and burgers and donuts, just literally a stoner's paradise. And there's free weed everywhere you turn. They're just handing you jars, and these jars are $80 jars that they're handing you of just free weed everywhere you turn. We only wish we would have brought bigger purses because we were fuck, we can't fit any more weed in here. And then they had a Ludacris concert, and then they had a live drone show. It was incredible. And I was like, wow, this is fucking next level. And it was so off the charts. Everything was amazing.
Cool was there. And
everybody from every reality show you've ever seen. I was oh, I've seen them on TV. I've seen them. They're probably oh, I've seen her, different TV, but I've seen her,
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
I love Ludacris. And when they bust you up, I was like, this is an Illuminati party.
It was so fun. I was couldn't even believe, it was, first of all, I was where the fuck are we going? You know, but it was a blast.
All right. Well, you are not a piece of shit. You're a wonderful person. But thank you for being on the Diary of a Piece of Shit. Make sure you follow her. Follow me. Support the show, Patreon, Venmo, or just like our clips, or if you like a podcast, tell them to have us on. Just there's millions of ways to help the show.
Yeah.
If you enjoy the show, just do that and support Silvia for coming in. Go see a live show and Onlyfans and all that, and come to my Onlyfans eventually. I'll keep you updated. Send your vagina in. I'll rate your vagina, or I'll rate your girlfriend's vagina and say get out of there. All right, that's it. That's the end of this episode of A Diary Piece of Shit. We'll see you next week.